Omni-Man, Earth's once greatest hero. Alongside the Guardians of the Globe, he protected the world from all manner of threats. And then, in a single day, it all went horribly wrong.
Why, Omni-Man? How, Omni-Man? Who, Omni-Man?
Who indeed? Champion of Earth, best-selling author J.K. Simmons, yet it was all a charade, with his murderous rampage only brought to a halt thanks to his own son.
It all starts with his home planet, Viltrum, which I hear is a totally lovely utopia.
Through brutal, mortal combat.
With a K! Or, wait, no, that came later.
Viltrumites are among the most powerful beings in the universe, even more so after they purge the weaker members of their species. As a vanguard of the Viltrumite Empire, Omni-Man infiltrated Earth as Nolan Grayson, expected to prepare the planet for Imperial assimilation.
Which should have been easy, since he's got your classic strongman superpowers and he's basically invulnerable, easily knocking around asteroids the size of Texas.
He can fly at unbelievable speeds, soaring from Earth to the planet Thraxa in under 1 week. Thraxa is, quote, a couple galaxies away, give or take, so a minimum of 2 galaxies. Beyond the Milky Way's neighbor Andromeda is the lesser-known Triangulum Galaxy, which is over 2.7 million light-years away. Reaching it in under 1 week means Omni-Man must have flown over 142 million times faster than light.
Oh, and Viltrumites can't breathe in space. Way. And it's not like he was in a rush. He was on a soul-searching trip, contemplating the significance of smashing his own son's face in. Think, Nolan, think.
Yeah, this is why I'm never having kids.
You're missing out. But according to another Viltrumite, Thetis, a bunch of other Viltrumites who actually were in a hurry flew to Viltrum across the Virgo supercluster in less than 24 hours.
That's over 20 billion times faster than light.
They don't really need to rush anyway. The older a Viltrumite gets, the slower they age.
According to the Invincible Handbook, Nolan is over 2,000 years old. And regardless of age, Viltrumites don't suffer muscle fatigue like humans do, so they rarely ever tire out.
Seriously? He's got parenting easy mode on, and he couldn't even handle that. I would have killed for that back when my daughter was born.
Well, you would have to be a Viltrumite first. A Viltrumite's body contains smart atoms, which they subconsciously manipulate. This cellular structure can effectively recall certain states of being regardless of their present environment, reacting to changes at an atomic level to perform the impossible.
Yeah, like surviving your intestines getting ripped out, or even more scary, ripping out your whole beard all at once. Ugh, only a Viltrumite could pull off something that disturbing.
Nolan
Most weapons in the universe can't even scratch a Viltrumite like him.
Even a ship's cannon like this one can't take down a Viltrumite, and it obliterated a massive solar disk nearly half the size of a star.
Speaking of planets, he's strong enough to shatter one by flying straight through it. A planet so big it has a whole ring around it.
The Roche limit factor dictates the size a celestial body must be in order to disperse orbiting material as a ring. In short, an Earth-sized planet can't support such a ring, meaning this one must be much larger.
And don't get me started on how the ring is actually made up of dead bodies because, spoilers? Just go read the comic.
If Roche isn't doing it for you, this planet also supports 5 moons in its orbit, and even the smallest is a perfect sphere, meaning its own gravity shaped it. At minimum, a moon like that must have a diameter of 600 kilometers, or 370 miles. Comparing this to the planet's diameter, we can tell this world is nearly 14 times larger than Earth.
Or it was before, you know,
In the far reaches of the cosmos laid a world with a people like no other, born and raised to do just one thing: fight.
The Saiyans, a proud warrior people from the planet Vegeta, ruled by, King Vegeta. Well, narcissist much.
Exactly. Their pride blinded them to the truth of their impending doom. But perhaps one Saiyan represented the best of them, even during their waning glory days.
Bardock! He's cool, he's crude, he's got a bad attitude, and if he goes apeshit, you're totally screwed. And guess what? He's father of Goku.
Oh wow, I never would have guessed.
Right? What a curveball.
So what does that make Turles?
Who?
Bardock was a cold-blooded killer, ruthlessly conquering planets in service to the Saiyans' true overseer, Lord Frieza.
They didn't just conquer planets, they wiped out every living thing, leaving Frieza uninhabited rocks to sell away. Bardock was an asshole. Well, until he wasn't.
Bardock's story has evolved over the years, with multiple iterations to draw from.
Including one where he's a brilliant scientist.
But only one is considered officially canon. Bardock's demeanor began to shift when he met and eventually married fellow warrior Guinea, and had two sons, Raditz and Kakarot.
No, Bardock didn't go totally soft. He was still a ruthless warrior. You know that iconic red headband of his? It's stained with the blood of his fallen friends. Hardcore!
Bardock could fly, move faster than light, and was naturally adept in using his ki as an explosive weapon.
AKA shooting lasers from his hands! True to his brutal screw-you nature, Bardock's moves are all about overwhelming power. His final spirit cannon is like a ki-powered bazooka. His rebellion hammer punch ignites enemies on contact, and his rebellion spear basically turns him into a supercharged battering ram. Bardock was a low-class warrior, so it was unlikely his kids would grow up to be anything more than battlefield fodder.
But they would still possess the Saiyans' power, a transformation that was the key to their planetary devastation.
Big Monkey!
Under the light of a full moon, a Saiyan with a tail manifests the Uzaru.
This great ape form increases Bardock's power tenfold, turning him into an unstoppable kaiju. Quick, someone call Yajirobe!
While some Saiyans can maintain control over this berserker form, low-class warriors like Bardock don't receive the same level of training as those of higher birth. Prince Vegeta's control is so precise he can speak while changed, but Bardock cannot.
Hell, it's questionable if he even remembers everything that happens when he goes full-tilt gorilla. The Saiyan strategy is pretty much just monkey see, monkey smash.
Despite being low-class, Bardock's power level nearly matched that of King Vegeta, who could destroy multiple planets at once.
No, power levels are kinda janky. Nobody can agree on what the number really means.
Outside of his fight with Gas, Bardock doesn't really show any high-end feats in canon, but we can use power levels to compare him to other characters with similar levels to better understand his potential.
Like when his son fought Prince Vegeta. What's the scouter say about his power level? It's over 8,000! Yeah, the dub changed it to fit Vegeta's lip flaps, but we only cover the cold hard truth, damn it!
According to this movie pamphlet, Goku's power level between his fight with Vegeta and his trip to Namek was 10,000. This lines up with that previous reading and puts him on par with Bardock. Goku's training during the trip eventually raised him to 90,000 upon arrival, but this gives us a clear window.
Yeah, early in the trip he had to dodge a bunch of incoming asteroids and blast his ship away from a star, which is impressive considering the speed involved.
The planet Namek is outside Earth's quadrant of the universe, and it took his ship 6 days to make the journey. Traveling a quarter of the universe's diameter would put the ship over 9.5 trillion times the speed of light. Actually, he was pulled away by these two, who miscalculated and misplaced him incorrectly in the time stream.
Blah, 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 non-canon, whatever. He survived. And when he realized what happened, he got so unbelievably pissed off, he went Super Saiyan. What?
Alright, this is very much an alternate universe what-if scenario, and it is jarring. But think about it. The Super Saiyan form is not achieved through training alone. It requires dedication, introspection, victory, failure, love, and loss. Frieza destroyed the Saiyans because he feared the possibility of the Super Saiyan, a Saiyan with power that could rival his own. But perhaps Bardock's transformation was more than simply a what-if. He had begun to take the very steps his son later would to achieve the form. Perhaps if Frieza had hesitated, even for a moment, his fear would have manifested before him right then and there.
Damn, pour one out for Bardock, who figured out how to be the truest Saiyan right at the end of it all. I know Kakarot would be proud. Okay, these Gokus have got to stop picking fights with guys in capes.
Pitting Saiyan against Viltrumite is fascinating. Among the many similarities, 5 specific categories stand out.
Starting with speed. Bardock is much faster, given his power level matched Goku dodging asteroids at 9.5 trillion times light speed, much higher than the Viltrumite's fastest speed. Add on the 50 times multiplier from Super Saiyan and it's a huge difference.
Right, Bardock clearly has the speed advantage, but strength and durability are another story.
Bardock scales to King Veggie, who wrecked 3 planets at once, and Omniman only smashed 1. But given how big that one planet was, the numbers are actually pretty similar, until we factor in the Super Saiyan boost, right?
Well, there's a catch. A major plot point in Invincible involves the coalition of planets admitting that their weapons cannot hurt Viltrumites.
So, when their ship's cannon obliterated this gigantic solar disk, it highlighted just how tough the Viltrumites really are.
This disk completely blocked the sunlight and heat between a planet and its star. And this is no ordinary planet. Its size and density are so high that its inhabitants are as strong as Viltrumites just due to living in its natural gravity. To fully block the light to such a planet and remain in consistent orbit, the disk would need to be positioned at its L1 point, the spot that creates an uninterrupted view between sun and satellite, and the disk itself must be about half the diameter of the star in question. This means the scaling of the disk puts it at 3 septillion tons.
That's 24 zeros!
Which makes Omniman over 11,000 times stronger than base Bardock.
Not even the Great Ape or Super Saiyan forms could make up that difference. To Nolan.
Still, numbers aren't everything. As far as versatility and combat goes, neither had one distinct advantage that could win outright.
Omni-Man survives in space for much longer, but Bardock barely squeaks out the edge here thanks to his ranged versatility with key attacks and, of course, Super Saiyan.
Okay, let's address the Super Saiyan Bardock thing. It's perfectly fair to question whether or not the form should be in this comparison at all. However, even with the form included, Nolan still takes this, especially when it comes to our last two categories, experience and stamina.
Yep, Omni-Man's been around a lot longer than Bardock, over 2,000 years, and even with Super Saiyan, Bardock's no master of the form.
And without that mastery, the form drains the user's energies at an increased rate. Which brings us to what may be Omni-Man's most surprising advantage.
Those weird smart atoms.
Saiyans like Bardock can fight for days on end, but only for so long. Bardock possesses a limited pool of ki, which only depletes faster when using super forms like the Great Ape. In contrast, Omniman's biology prevents him from tiring in most cases, letting him travel across whole galaxies for weeks non-stop, and his smart atoms adjust to counter whatever physical strain he's subjected to.
Bardock's crazy speed and power made him a real challenge.
But Nolan's strength, experience, and sheer endurance presented an unstoppable and unshakable force that would inevitably land the killing blow.
When push came to shove, Omni-Man raised the bar, Duck.
The winner is Omni-Man.